This video looks at using spreadsheets to model the financial situations covered in questions like question 7 of the financial mathematics course. So here we go. We want headings like quarter, opening balance, deposit, interest, and closing balance. Select all there and double click on then it makes everything large enough, but like some of them a bit larger. Okay, hold them. And I've got the rate and the deposit set up here, which are 0.0075, oops, and 600. Okay, now that's a currency. I'm going to make that look like one. The quarter question goes down to 8. Most people know that in a spreadsheet you can do that. Okay, the opening balance is 0 for the first quarter, and the deposit equals, I'm not going to write 600, okay, I'm going to refer to the deposit up here. So it equals, I'm going to use the arrow keys to go up here, but very importantly, I'm going to hit F4. Now this F4 is correct whether you're doing Excel or Google Sheets. See how it puts the dollar signs in there? It means that it's an absolute reference to that cell, not to the cell 3 above, but to C2 specifically. Very important. Okay, the interest, well, I need to take the opening balance, add the deposit, and then calculate the interest. So we have equals, and I do that, plus that. So I'm using the arrow keys to get around, but you can type in the cells as well, multiplied by, and then I'll go up to the interest rate. And once again, F4 to make that an absolute reference. Okay, all of these should be dollar signs. And the closing balance is, well, it's the opening balance plus the deposit plus the interest. Okay. Now, the opening balance of the next quarter, I'm going to make this do a little bit of tidying up, making it look like it is in the course notes. Okay, now the opening balance of the next quarter equals the closing balance of the previous quarter. That's simple. And the deposit is the same as before. And the interest, now basically these 3 cells need to be the same as these 3 cells. And so that meaning this deposit is the same as that deposit. The interest calculation is the same as that one. The closing balance is the same calculation as that one. I'm just going to double click and you can see it highlights which cells it's referring to. This is referring to that up there. Okay, this is referring to those 3 cells. If I do a copy, a paste, then it's copying the formulas, not the values. And if I double click on this, for instance, you can see that it's referring to the correct cells. Okay, that's the beauty of relative referencing in a spreadsheet. That's what we want most of the time, and that's why we need to be careful if we are referring to something that specifically lives in a specific location like the interest rate. That's what these dollar signs are for. Okay, so everything's good now, and I'm going to select all of this, and you can go right click and drag down. No, you can't. Maybe there's somewhere you can do drag down, but it's Control D for drag down. So select the area that I want to drag down, Control D, and it copies the formulas down. And so now I have found the balance after 8 quarters. So something really cool extra to demonstrate is, what if I want the balance to be $6,000 instead? How much deposit would I have to make each time? So how do I do that? Probably in data. What if analysis? Yes. Okay. So this is built into Excel, but not built into Google Sheets. So if I want, let's say I've modeled what occurs if I make a regular deposit of $600 and I'm getting 7.5, 0.75% per quarter. Okay, so I don't have any control over the interest rate, but what regular deposit would I need to make that $6,000 instead of $4,964.87? So I can do, so in the data ribbon, I can do what if analysis, and I can do goal seek. And what I'm doing, I'm setting cell B13 to value 6,000 by changing cell, and I'll just click there, cell C2. And when I hit OK, don't blink. See, it does a bunch of trial and error and finds a solution. All right. So if my goal is to make $6,000 after 8 quarters, then I'll need to save $725 per quarter. Okay, so if we're looking instead at question 10, then we're looking at a loan repayment. So Irma is borrowing $10,000 for a car. Okay, so there's a screenshot of the spreadsheet in the notes, and this is how we create it. So I'll start down here with the month, the opening balance, interest, repayment, and closing balance. We'll put the rate and the repayment. Okay, so the month. Okay, so how long will it take to pay off the loan? Probably a while. We'll do this time, instead of sort of dragging that down, which brings it to a set number of things, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to set this cell equals the one above plus 1. Now, that can be just copied down, Control D, as much as I like, and it can be copied down along with everything else. Okay, the opening balance is $10,000. The interest is the opening balance times rate, which is a absolute cell. Repayment, so it'd look better if these were dollar signs, of course. Okay, the repayment, that's fixed, so that equals that. The closing balance, well, start with the opening balance. We add the interest, that means how much, what we owe has gone up, and then subtract the repayment. Now, remember, this was a typed in value, but everything else in here has to be a calculated value. So that equals the previous closing balance. The interest repayment and closing balance can copy down. They're the same formula. And now copy all of this down. Okay, and we can see, well, let's have a bit of a look. Oh, right, yes. These are, right, from here on is a negative value. Very clearly displayed there over on the left. And so I'll get rid of all that. So we can see that after 27 months, right, after 27 months, the balance is $229.84, which means in the next month, you'll just pay off that balance. Well, actually, the closing balance after 27 months is in the negative. So it means that you would reach zero with a lower repayment. In question 12, we're talking about a superannuation nest egg. And it's one of those nice surprises that this is exactly the same. Instead of borrowing money and paying it back, you've got money and you're spending it. So the repayment becomes a withdrawal. To look at the situation in question 12, we're still looking at months. The copying from the notes, so that's the rate is 0.037. The withdrawal, $45,000. Actually, sorry, it's year, not. And the opening balance, or I guess, yeah, it's still called an opening balance, is $800,000. So, right, so it's all snapped into gear. So the percentage signs just means that the number is too big to display in the column. So just make the column a bit bigger. And we can see the balance going down over the years, and we can have a look at, so all I need to do is just continue to drag it down. Okay, and it first becomes negative there. All right, so the opening balance after 29 years was about $22,000. The money's going to run out that year. So the mathematics did not change one bit from previous to now. Okay, so hope that gives you a good insight and confidence into creating spreadsheet. I'll do one more actually. I'll do an annuities one, or sorry, a savings plan one, which it has less detail in it. So let's, well, once again, we'll have a rate and a deposit. Rate, well, this time, let's say 4% per annum. Try to keep things simple. So this time I'm going to make it 1.04. Okay, so it's a real multiplicative rate. We're not calculating the interest, we're just working out what happens at each point. The regular deposit, let's just say it's $5,000. Okay, we're talking years here. We've got the opening balance and the deposit, and we'll just say the closing balance. Okay, the opening balance is 0. The deposit dollar signs in. Okay, so what's the closing balance? Well, it just equals. You know what? I'll get rid of the deposit column as well. I'm being very minimalist here. I wouldn't be this minimalist in class normally, but just to show what we can do with a bit of, in fact, I can even get rid of closing balance, right? I'll just say balance. So that equals that plus 1. Idea being this equals the opening balance from the balance from the previous year plus deposit, and then times the interest rate. And you'll see that I've forgotten to put absolute referencing in here. So I'm just going to edit it. You can go up here and edit it. Okay, so I'll just put the cursor there, press F4, put the cursor there, press F4, and we're all good. Okay, and I can just copy this down now. So it's just doing all the calculations at once instead of showing all of the bits and pieces. It's not better. It's just different, and it reflects what you do with a calculator when you use the answer trick. Okay, that's it. Hope that was helpful.